Well, hello, everybody. Hey, welcome to Tech Tip Tuesday, the first one for the month of March. I mean, lined right up with the first day of the month. Great timing. I didn't do that. It just happened to be that way. But welcome. I'm glad everybody's here. It's feeling like spring in the air. We just had an amazing call today announcing a new spring promo. Oh my gosh, you guys, I hope you didn't miss that call. If you did, the recording is coming up for that. And tomorrow on What's Up Wednesday, everybody, we're going to recap. So if you missed it today, jump on the call tomorrow. So my name is Ken Close. I'm a Healy World member, just like most of you guys here. And I am accompanied by a couple of amazing co-hosts. I got Jake Barron here from operations in Florida. Hey, Jake, welcome.
Hello, everyone.
And Freddie Perez is here from the sunny state of Texas, right? Welcome.
Yeah, we're 60 tonight, so that's feeling real good.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. And then in the background, we have a customer service. Is it Michael that's here tonight with us?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Well, welcome, Michael. Thank you for being here with us. So this is Tech Tip Tuesday. What we do is this is a chat-based forum in which we bring your questions live into the from the chat into the forum and unpack, solve the mysteries and cure all of the issues, right, that you guys might bring to the table. So what we do is work with the blue dot, affectionately known as the HealAdvisor Analyse app, and the pink dot known as the Healy app, and any of the things associated with it. I mean, there's been some very creative things that we've solved here. And believe me, we do find lots of solutions. So what we can't do is really talk about anything where we're going to prevent, cure, treat, or diagnose any illnesses or conditions within the body, nor are we going to be able to suggest any particular programs for any particular conditions. So I bring all of my knowledge, experience, and background as an electronics engineer to the table. And then, of course, Freddie's got tons of tech support experience with his live chats. And of course, Jake Barron with the head of operations and our live customer service in the background. I don't think there's anything we can't solve, guys. What do you think?
We do our best.
Correct. Nothing we can't solve. Might not be on the call tonight, but eventually we'll get it done. So.
Right? We may not be live, but at least it's going to be very soon. All right, guys. Well, hey, with all that, let's get started. See what we got going on, huh?
All right.
The very first one I see up here is this: why do the programs in pain stimulations not have names in the pink dot? That's a great question. And you know, because Healy is so advanced and it is such a new technology, honestly, there's still rules being written around what it can and can't do. And compliance is one of the things it'd be better that we are safe than sorry when it comes to compliance, and not be frowned upon by our different associations or organizations within the US. And the FDA does a lot of regulation. And so what can be said in other countries cannot necessarily be said in the US. And so the programs, to be honest with you folks, are exactly the same. There's nothing different about the programs, just the names have been changed to protect the innocent. Well, I mean, to actually abide by what FDA is kind of asking us to conform with. So it's a lot to do with compliance, and but they work the same.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have an excellent legal regulatory compliance team. And, you know, sometimes you might run into an issue. You might be like, oh, they're being so strict, or they can't say this. Why can't we say this? It's to protect the company, protect the business, protect this for everybody for long term, because this isn't a short term thing. You know, this is protecting us for the next 10, 20, 30 plus years. And as Ken mentioned, this is a very new technology. And there are a lot of other companies out there making other claims and things. You know, well, why can't that company say this and we can't? They're not compliant and they're going to get in trouble. So, so just keep that in mind if you ever get a letter from compliance or whatever, that it's meant to protect this for everybody as a whole. So.
Absolutely. Freddie, anything you want to add to that?
No, that pretty much nails it. You know, I'll just say from, past experiences, the rules and regulations, if it's not the FDA, it's the FCC, there's always going to be some type of regulatory unit, as I like to call it, that companies have to abide by. And like you said, Ken, that's for our protection. And Jake hit it right on the head. This isn't just for today or tomorrow, for many years to come. So we want to stay right in tune with those guidelines, make the adjustments that we need to make, both from things that are current and things that may change in the future as well.
Absolutely. So Freddie, I don't know, your mic is pretty quiet. I don't know if you have a way of turning that up at all, but we can barely hear you.
Can you hear me any better now?
Sounds the same.
Okay. Don't know why. I got everything at 100%.
Well, we'll troubleshoot that as we go.
Okay.
Right?
All right. What else we got?
Let's see. There was a question. Can Healy reinstate the deletion of items after they've been manually deleted? So I'm assuming to maybe some data in their cloud after it's been deleted, maybe in the Analyze app. And I don't know of any way to recover that. There's no undo or well, no, because there wouldn't be once it's synced back up to the cloud.
So here's some conditions that are relative to that. So if you're deleting certain content, whether it be a client or contents within the client record or anything that you've modified, if you've done that modification in the app and you have not completed a backup, you could go to a different device and you can back up, or in other words, you can open that content. So when I say different device, you can go to a different smart device, and you can, well, let me theorize this for a second, go through this for a moment, because anytime you do a backup from your app, it changes the content in the cloud. Okay. It matches the content in the cloud with the content in the app. So if you've made some deletions on the app, that client is still in the cloud. Okay, in its other form, when you first initially installed them or create that client, if you did a backup prior to the modifications, there's some conditions here. And you may have to follow along a little bit on how that works, but depending on when your last backup was, if you remember, the cloud is a separate space of record, a separate memory location than the app itself until you do a full synchronization, then they merge. So if the content that you deleted on the app today has not been backed up to the cloud, and that contains the same content you created yesterday, then the information is intact in the cloud. The only way to get it is to go to a different smart device. All right, a different smart device that has the app on it, but it's not the same app that you deleted the content from. Does that make sense? Then you will have the content that's in the cloud merged with device number 2. And then all the information is there. All right. So you're still going to be running a chance of updating the deleted content into the cloud. So yeah, that's a touchy one.
Yeah, probably depends on how long ago you deleted it and what you've done since then. So
yeah, it's just there. It's all about trying to come up with a pure copy. Yeah, that would be it would be something that I would work with. I would have to do some very distinct adjustments to try to get them reinstated.
Ken, are you hearing me any clearer now?
Not really. Maybe try jumping out and back in again into the call. See if that'll help, Freddie.
I'll do that. I'll be right back.
Okay.
all right.
What else we got?
Let's see. Question here. I said, I think it comes up on most of our calls, but when I get a list of programs from the Blue Dot app and I note my top 5 programs to work on, does it matter if I run them in the exact order, or can I skip one if I don't feel like putting patches on and come back to that later? So, and I think you're the one that's answered this, the most times, but there's really no reason not to trust them and run them in the order they're presented. Or you know, what else would you say to that other than don't try to outthink the Healy?
Well, what I say to folks all the time, I do this all the time. So remember, where I look at things is from the epigenetic influence. Epigenetic means the influence outside the cell, the genetic codes that are creating our body. Those codes are very influenced by our thoughts, our beliefs, our perceptions, our habits, our behaviors. And so when we're looking at something from an objective observer and we're asking Healy to help us, right? We're saying, help us. And then what we do when Healy says, okay, here's your alignment tool, then we go and edit that. And we say, nah, I don't want to do that. Okay. So think about it, folks. Think about if we're asking, let's just say we ask some other professional, the mechanic that's working on our car. We say, you know what, will you look at my car? And the mechanic says, oh my gosh, your front wheel bearing is about ready to explode and fall off. And you also, by the way, need a new muffler and maybe we need a tune-up. You go, you know what, just do the tune-up. That's okay. I don't want to worry about that bearing on the front wheel. If it falls off, it falls off. Would you say that? I mean, honestly, Healy's looking at trying to align you from the greatest, most purest objective observation. So yeah, is it inconvenient to switch over leads and connections and do this or do that? Perhaps, but I ask the question to everyone I work with people, I mean, top athletes, performance junkies. And I say, look, if you want to win, then do you want to go in 5% or 100%? And the degree in which you go in will be equal to the degree in which you align and heal I shouldn't say heal, but align and balance the body. Okay. So I say, go all in. If it's saying, here's the priority, go with that list and don't edit. All right. That's my 2 cents.
Do I sound any clearer?
Nope. Still the same. I don't know what's going on there, Freddie.
Don't either.
Well, we'll listen for you.
Yeah.
Okay. My goodness, the questions are lining up here, guys. Okay. I don't know if that was answered already. Every time I start up the blue dot, the cog spins and spins for a long time. How do I stop that? Did Michael already answer that?
He put some troubleshooting
Okay.
tips into the chat here about automatic sync and things like that. So
yeah, that's it. If we have the automatic synchronization on, I want you guys to understand some principles. Number one principle is Healy is a resource hungry application. The programs are resource hungry. In other words, they want it wants a lot of bandwidth. It wants a lot of resources. It wants to be able to do its job properly. And to do that, it needs proper amount of memory space on your smart device. It needs proper amount of CPU capability. In other words, you can't have a whole bunch of apps running in the background. And it's going to need proper bandwidth when it's starting to run some of the downloads. So if you have the auto sync turned on, every time you open the Blue Dot app, it's going to synchronize every time. All right. And the number of entities it needs to synchronize will determine how long it takes. So let's say you open the Blue Dot app right now and maybe you're in with a friend or you're with a family member and they just want you to do a scan. So you open up the Blue Dot app and you go to try to perform the scan. Instantly, it's going to do a synchronization in the background because you have auto sync turned on. And so what you're trying to do in the foreground is being limited by what's happening in the background. So if you have additional apps open, then it's even using the resources even more, tapping out the resources available to do the task. So turning off that auto sync helps a lot. Okay.
We go. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Years and Beyond.
I hear it going on in the background there.
I was going to pull something up on YouTube here from our channel and it started playing. So
yeah, there you go.
I thought that was Healy Radio.
That's what we should call it. Healy Radio. Okay. Let's see what else we got.
see.
I love this question, but from Kim says, can I attach on the Blue Dot app, can I attach another person's Healy onto my phone, or can I attach their Healy to my tablet? I know these. So here's the cool thing about Healy. This device that you have in your hand, this hardware is assigned a specific capability. Whatever was purchased and whatever was assigned to that serial number on the back can be utilized by anybody, as long as they have the proper credentials for login. If it's the Blue Dot app, you've got to have the proper credentials to log in and have the master key. Okay. If it's the Pink Dot, you just need to have the serial number, and it can be operated from any smart device. Okay. As long as the smart device has a operating system of minimum or higher version. Okay. So this is one of the things I run into. People with older devices, they've got like old iOS operating system 10, right? Or same thing with Android. If you have a lower version of the Android operating system, you won't be able to run it. 11 is the minimum for the operating systems. I think both Android and iOS is 11. Freddie, is that right on the Android? Is 11?
It's either 11 or 11.1 now. But
Yeah.
11 works.
Yeah. Okay.
And as a matter of fact, I dealt with someone just today on the same issue. They had a iPhone 6, for example, and that particular phone, that operating system, they cannot update anything past the, I think it was 12.5 point something. And what they discovered versus their 11 was working flawlessly. But the older model, it kept having disruptions in there because, like as you mentioned, a lot of times the software is not going to update to a point where other apps that may be affected with that update, Healy could be one of those, and it may cause some disruptions in usage.
Yeah. Yeah. This is true of not just Healy though, everybody, because as technology increases, these app developers have to keep up with the program's functionality with that version of software, the actual operating system. They have to, otherwise the app becomes obsolete, and newer devices won't operate those apps. So the older stuff becomes outdated. It's just, I mean, does anybody out there have the iPhone 2? I do. It doesn't work anymore. It won't even go on because that was the old 2G. I don't remember that. I mean, yeah.
So long ago.
I just dated myself. How I've had an iPhone ever since the big old brick thing with the whip antenna came out. You know, you hold up your head like this. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Let's see. Somebody says, I'm sure I'm not the only one that who can't read the battery level. Why is it such a faint color? The battery level, I mean, it's white, but again, depends on the size of screen. Like Freddie was talking about an iPhone 6. Some of those screens are small. What else we got? Anybody got something out there?
Well, when I logged back in, I came in where Danielle.
There was a question or a comment that the Healy clip broke with cracks on the case. So, you know, this does come up certainly from time to time. You know, there are replacement clips. So if the clip on your Healy ever breaks, we can send you a replacement clip for free. You just need to log into your support center, put in a ticket, and we'll send one right out to you. And we have some videos available on our YouTube channel at Healy World Americas. And also there's, if you just go to YouTube and just search it in general, how to replace the clip on a Healy, you'll find a few videos there. But if it breaks to the point where the little metal pins attached to the Healy, that part is cracked, a replacement clip's not going to do any good because it's not going to have anything to grab into, or it's just going to pop right back off. So if that happens, again, put in a support ticket, but make sure, even if the case, the housing of the Healy isn't broken, make sure you always take a picture of the back of the Healy where the clip attaches to the Healy device itself. But especially if the housing is cracked to where it cannot be, a replacement clip won't work. If you send that in, put in the picture that shows exactly what the issue is there, our support team will take care of that, review it, and then chances are the device will just have to be replaced, and we'll take care of that for you as well.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
A little side note on that too, you know, when folks are constantly using their Healy and they're using the clip, taking it off and on, what that does is that the clip starts to move around. And so that little spring-loaded pin, it starts to bore out those holes that Jake was just mentioning. So if you take the clip off, just make sure that you can put that spring-loaded pin in there and it's not moving around where it will easily pop out, because a replacement clip, just like Jake mentioned, will not work.
No. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Here's a great question. It says, there's somebody actually asking about technique here. Is it okay to use 2 or more Healys with wires at the same time? So I've actually talked about this. This is one of my performance hacks actually that I like to work on with the body, is that using multiple Healys at the same time, because you can actually use programs in essentially in cadence with each other, as long as they are kind of within the same, well, you can be in different categories, but you'll want to typically run things that are coherent or that are an assistant to the other. So the way I do it is if I'm going to run 2 microcurrent programs into my body, so maybe you have the sticky pads in one spot and the wrist bracelets in another, and one program is systemic. In other words, it's designed for the whole system, and the other one may be acute. So if you're working on acute pain, right, or local pain, and so you have the sticky pads in a certain spot on your body, and then you're also working on chronic pain, so or something to do with the head or headache, right? So you can run these things in conjunction because they're working on different neural pathways, and yet still for the same objective. What I like to do is I like to actually run the wristbands and the coil. So 2 Healys, but one's a coil and one's a wristband, because one, I'm working with the actual ATP production and the cell systems with the wristbands and the microcurrent. And the other one, I'm influencing the genetic code, the signaling process of the cells. So in other words, I would run maybe like muscle program from the fitness page with my wristbands. So now I'm working with protein synthesis and amino acid transport and ATP production on the muscles. And then that's with the wristbands. And then on my second Healy, I'm running the coil, and I'm running magnetic energy influence. And that program I'm running strength. Maybe I'm running strength. So now I'm sending the signal to the genetic development of the cell for strength, while I'm promoting the actual synthesis of a good energetic strong muscle, right? So I'm kind of energizing that whole structure. So just those are some of the ways that you can kind of work in conjunction in coherence. But yes, you can. Now, folks, please do this. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your body. And the reason I say that is because some of these programs do very good job of getting rid of toxins, and you can literally feel like flu-like symptoms as a detox starts to happen, and it feels uncomfortable. And you might think, oh my gosh, I'm getting sick or something. Actually, that's just the body releasing certain things. And keep your hydration high. Make sure you get that hydration high so the body can do its job and flush out these toxins. Okay. Thanks, guys. Anything else you want to add? Okay. There's another great question. We get this often. What's the difference between the effects of microcurrent and coil? we've got information on that.
No, so that's what I was going to show here real quick on our YouTube page, how to go back and look at some of our past episodes that we've done, Healy Tech Tip Tuesday Radio, whatever you want to call this now. But let me just share my screen, and we'll go to our YouTube page. So go back. Okay. So on this here is this is a Tech Tip Tuesday from a few weeks ago. And then you'll see here in the show more section. So when you come to this page, you'll see all the topics we covered on this call. So you can kind of go through all the different things. And then you'll see here, Ken had a beautiful explanation here of which is more powerful, the coil or the wristbands. Mm-hmm. And, you can, if you click on this, so say you come to this video, let me go back real quick just to the main Healy World Americas page. And then if you want to go back to look at all the prior Tech Tip Tuesdays, you can click on playlist, Tech Tip Tuesday, view full playlist. We covered this on multiple calls, but the one I was just looking at was one from January 25th. If you click on this, pause that real quick, and then under the topics here, all the individual chapters for this call, if you just click on this, which is more powerful, the coil or the wristbands?
Which is more powerful.
There's Freddie reading the question, right there. And
Powerful is a great word because it's
yeah, so there's about a 5-minute segment just on that particular topic. So it's easy to go back and look. And if you don't know which topic or which episode it was covered in, if you just go over to here, this is, I went straight to YouTube and I just searched Healy coil or the wristbands, and you'll see the second thing that came up here is the segment from the same call, January 25th, 2022. So if you don't know which episode it was, you can just do a general search as well, which will kind of help you guide you. You can see there's a lot of people that have covered this topic as well, not just us on this call. There's all kinds of content there. So pretty much anything that you're looking for, this is, again, YouTube's an excellent resource, especially our channel here, Healy World America. So if you haven't already gone to our YouTube page, please do so and subscribe to it as well. And check the little reminder icon. So this is, let me go back to here. I'm in a incognito browser here, but if you click subscribe, and then there'll be a little bell next to it here, which you can click to where anytime we upload new content, a new Tech Tip Tuesday, new Healy for Beginners and Beyond, What's Up Wednesday, at the top of your screen, when we do upload a new video, you'll get a little reminder, hey, Healy World America has added this week's Tech Tip Tuesday, and you'll be good to go on that. So excellent resource.
I love it.
That's a great suggestion. Yeah, that little notification bell up there does come in handy, right? So you know when it's done or when it's uploaded.
Yeah. And by the way, just going to Google and searching that's not the same. You want to go to YouTube, because if you go to Google and search the same content or the same keywords that Jake mentioned, the Google search engines are going to look for everything that's internet wide. And it may not pull up because the YouTube channel may not have as much press, right? In other words, the search engine optimization value is lower, and so it doesn't get found. So go directly to YouTube and do that. It's super powerful. And thank you, Jake, for all that resource, all that content. I mean, this is him working day and night. I mean, look at him. He's looking tired. He's just like, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But no, Jake, you're doing a great job. Thank you for all that work. We so much appreciate it.
Trying to make it as easy as possible for everybody. So
yeah. And this is such powerful stuff. Okay. Let's see. Somebody's asking.
There's a little question in here. I don't think we covered it. Maybe when I was gone, I'm not sure. But the question is, are 10 unit pads similar to stock Healy? I'm assuming they're talking about the adhesive Healy pads.
That's a great question. Yeah. Do you want to cover that, Freddie? Or
well, I haven't had any experience with the TENS pads other than people have told me that they don't click into place properly with our leads. So
I mean, so in general, if you're certainly asking us from corporate, we always recommend using the ones that are designed to be used specifically with the Healy. So those are the ones that are designed to fit exactly with the connection cables, and then they are available on our website in the accessory section if you need to order more of them as well. So
yeah, and so from not the corporate side, I mean, but still compliant, I'll put that out there. So understanding the purpose of the sticky pads in general, because that's the thing that we need to look at. I'm a principles kind of person. I'm going to give you principles because then you can make your own decisions in a more educated way. Healy is a two-way communication street, okay? But its primary microcurrent application is a give to the body. So in other words, it's giving microcurrent to the body. And TENS units are the same thing. In other words, they're giving energy to the body. Okay, so they're going to be the most compatible with the purpose of the information or energy into the body. There are other devices out there that are designed to take information from the body, such as, say, an EKG lead that sticks on your body that has a little wire or something that connects. Those are reading from the body, as well as there's straps that go around your wrist that are designed to plug into like a workbench for discharging static energy from the body. This is in some of the technical aspects and electronics aspects. Again, pulling energy from the body. So not the same product. And then of course, the next part is, do the leads fit? In other words, the snap. The snap on the Healy is a 2.7 millimeter snap. Most of the product out there is 2.5. And so sometimes they're a little bit loose. Okay. So it's a little bit different, a little bit smaller on some of those products out there. So you're going to find it fits a little bit more loose. And it's important that they fit tight. Yeah.
So I just had a DM, and probably this is a question for you, Jake. They're requesting, do we have any idea when the coils may be available?
We're going to talk about that tomorrow, aren't we?
yeah, I mean, they are on the way here to the US. We expect to have the first shipment most likely, depends on custom clearance. Everything takes a lot longer these days with logistics around the world, but we expect to have them hopefully cleared and on the way to the warehouse end of this week, first thing next week. But the first batch is sort of set aside for people that earned a coil in place of the Healy Around the World event in Berlin that was canceled and is moving to a virtual event. So there's a group set aside for that. There's a group set aside for people that bought a Healy in December. Remember, we had a promo where every Healy that was purchased, you got a coil to go along with it. So those are the ones, orders being fulfilled first, plus a few replacements that we had in the queue. And then we have another shipment that's coming here in another week or so. It's going to be on its way here. And then we expect second half of the month, we'll have it fully sort of stocked and where we can add it, make it available in the shop again for everybody. So.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. So, I mean, I'm seeing in the chat a couple people talking about how they have either like switched over from demo mode within the Blue Dot app, and then we switch back into logging into their account. And then there's that download process to then activate the Blue Dot app. Or I've seen others that are maybe setting up their device and they get stuck at 10%. Right. And so in other words, the progress of the synchronization process basically is getting stuck at 10%. So this has been one of those ongoing things that it's happened. It happens often, right? That getting stuck at 10%. In some cases, it's been a issue of the bandwidth with the particular Wi-Fi or data transfer modality. Other cases, it is just a interaction between the cloud and the Healy. Some cases, it's a matter of shutting down and starting up again. So, I mean, there's a lot of different aspects to this particular spot where it gets stuck. Freddie, you see it as well. Have you seen some, what input do you have?
Well, first, let me say again, Michael, you're doing a great job. He responded to that question.
Yeah.
And I love the way he worded it, right? The bug tracking team, right? They're well aware of it and they are, doing their best to resolve that issue for everyone. But no, you're right, Ken, because the variables are the phone, Android, Apple, right? If the operating systems are up to date, the signal that's coming in. But what we found in some cases, and I just worked with one today, and it didn't work. right? And this was on an 11, okay? And so what they had, it didn't come out of the demo mode. They had some issue where they had to turn the phone off and on, and they deleted the app, reinstalled it. And when we came back in, it recognized the SN number, but we couldn't get it past where the login would show up. So the little cogwheel of the wheel just kept turning and turning, right? Again, stuck at that 10%. And in that mode, they're virtually the same. It's a bug that's inside the software, and that's what they're working on.
Yeah. And so in cases where you're, you're a veteran and you've done this multiple times, in other words, go into demo mode, go out of demo mode, back into your account, back and forth, then when you delete the app, so again, these apps, it's quite possible. Remember, the apps interact with the CPU of your smart device, and especially on Android, they can actually read and write back and forth. On Apple, not so much. It's a little bit different, but they can read and write back and forth between the memory of the smart device and the operating system and the app software itself. And so it's not unlikely for the app to become corrupted. And so deleting the app completely, shutting your phone off, and then back on, because that actually helps clear the cache, clear the contents of the remnants of the old program, and then reinstalling the app. So that's another thing that does help. So
now, one other thing that I like to suggest as well, if you're in a household and there's multiple smart devices, whether it's phones or tablets of some sort, just to confirm that it's not your Healy that may have an issue, go ahead and try it on the other device. Because if you're getting the same results, then we kind of narrow it down. In this case, it could be that Blue Dot app that's having the issue that needs to be corrected. But if it's a different device, and I tried this on my own, right, from one Apple phone to an Android phone, and the issue was on the Apple, but didn't show up on the Android. So exactly what you're saying, Ken, you have to take some different actions depending on your device.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, let's see. Some folks saying still can't hear Freddie very well. We know, we're just leaning in on you, brother.
And I'm a little disappointed because I got a brand new external mic here, and it's been working flawlessly, but I'll troubleshoot that.
Yeah. Well, we're on a tech tip call, so you never know what we have to figure out. Let's see. Somebody said that they had completed the Academy training certification a couple of months ago, but did not print my certificate. Where do I find the certificate in my back office to print? Thanks. So if you go back through that Academy workshop, when you log back in, if you said a couple months ago,
I don't
no,
believe it's any longer.
No, it's different today. So you'll have to redo it. Sorry, it's just great review. Okay.
So, question earlier on here, I don't think we covered this one yet. It was how can my sister easily change the professional on her husband's phone in his name onto her phone and then put her resonance on his? Basically, they want to swap. She's been using the resonance on her phone, husband using the professional on his. She uses the Healy more, so she wants the professional on hers. And they're two different accounts. So in that case, they each have their own master key. So they basically just want to do a swap. So what would be the best way to swap as far as, logging out and sort of adding, or they'd have to put the swap master keys too on the devices as well. So they have to make sure that they can access those as well. So
yeah.
Freddie, well, I don't know if I should ask you since it's quiet right now, but in your all's experience here, what would be the simplest way to just do this swap so they can be happy and she can have the professional on her phone and he can go back to the residence on his?
Yeah.
Well, the first question I would ask, are they using two different master keys? Are they using one for both of those?
No, I think they're using two. They said it's on
Different
two different
accounts.
accounts.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so
the
it
first
sounds like
thing
they
is-
each have a master key separate and they want a complete swap, basically.
So let's start with that master key. Let's first have the master key, go into the Blue Dot app, go into the cloud setting, go to backup master key, and send the master key to the other smart device into an email account that it can be retrieved, open and retrieved from, right? So do that swap first. Make sure that you have the master key, right, in position so that when you take and basically do a reactivation, right, with those devices. And what I would suggest too is go ahead and delete the apps out on both phones, right? After you do that email swap, then come back in and go through those reactivation. Start with the pink first. Then when you get into the blue, and now it's going to ask you to import the master key. Now you'll be able to go into that email and save it first to the drive of that new smart device, right? Where it's now going to live. Save it to that drive first. Then when it has to import, there's a place to import it from. And you already have it in an email, which will serve as your backup. So those are the steps that I would take.
Yeah, master keys need a very specific label because you got two accounts there, right? You got his and hers. And I would take and label, when you send the email, label the email his master key, label the email her master key, in other words, so that you now know which is which. You know what I mean? And then because the app itself, when it goes to reactivate the resonance, it doesn't care which master key you use. And you won't know, honestly, which account is being opened until you go and try to see if the coaching app is on there or not. So as long as you identify which master key, then that's going to bring in also the authorizations for the professional versus the authorizations for the resonance, but you need to label them. So if his is the resonance, when you send that email, and then like Freddie said, you send the email to the account. So the smart device then goes and looks at the email and it pulls that file from the email and saves it to the hard drive of the smart device. But you need to know that's his master key because her master key is sitting there too. And the app's not going to differentiate the two. You have to choose. And so you need to know which is which, right?
Well, that's great advice, Ken. So, but if you know, in this case, if that's going to be a permanent swap, then you may want to delete the original master key first. And then, as Ken said, label it. And what I suggest too is to put like my MK or my master key and use the last 4 digits of the SN number, right? So then you know exactly how they're paired up.
There's a quick, like you opened up the quick and simple method, which was if you just open your Blue Dot app, and you then search for the Healy and the serial number, it's going to pull in that serial number. And then when you go to backup master key, click on backup master key, it's going to be associated with, it's still going to be associated with that account. Never mind. Clear what I just said right there. Never mind. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
But right there, when you open it up to go into that, save the master key, right? To the backup. So you'll see an email or a mail icon. And when you open that up, you can send it directly to whatever the email account is accessible on the smart device where you're going to send it to, right? So it's really simple and easy that way.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Bev asked a question is, I want to clear EMF energy from my house. I assume the only way to do that is through the vibrate mode. Essentially, we're talking about probably the Blue Dot app. How long do I need that to do that vibrate and how often? So in the pink dot, we also have these programs that are designed as protection programs, right? And in there, one of those is kind of electrosmog, right? It's designed for that. So you can run a pink dot program from that defense, they call it defense page. It's the bioenergetic defense page. And on that page, there are different programs that are designed to not have leads attached. Okay, they still do the same work, but they don't have to have the leads. And one is around electrosmog. So look at those lists, and you can run it just to have the Healy in the house. So that's one way. But yes, the other way, using the blue dot, you set your house up as a client, right? It's a building. You set it up as a client under the building category, put the proper information in there. You can scan the house, and then you can actually run an analysis just on that defense page, and you can come up with what's needed. Now, remember, you're doing an analysis on the house from the blue dot. So it's going to pick what your house needs to align or clear or bioenergetically cleanse. So you're not really going to get the choice. But from the pink dot, you can go in and choose that particular one program on the defense page. So it makes sense? So you can do both. But if you want to just be concerned about EMF and clearing just that energy, then you'll have to choose the program from the pink dot. Okay.
All right. We had a question. Again, I'm sort of working my way back up here, but it was regarding the watch programs. And it says when my analysis says to run Healy Watch DN programs, is it running from my watch or from the Healy? And they mentioned they don't understand how the watch runs. So anytime an analysis comes back and says you need to run the Healy Watch programs, it's actually running from the Healy. You don't need to put your watch on. There's nothing actually frequencies or microcurrent being transmitted from the watch itself. So you would be either vibrating those watch DN programs in the Analyze app, or running the watch programs with microcurrent or the Coil in the Healy Pink Dot app.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Tom asked a question here. When you run vibration from the blue dot, does the Healy read the information field and adjust the frequencies being transmitted? So the Healy uses the contents within the app. So the app is fully loaded with all the databases and the access to all the frequencies. They're all there. So you can literally have no Wi-Fi. You can have essentially no internet service or no data stream at all. Just simply have the Bluetooth connection between the smart device and the Healy, and it will do all of its job. In other words, meaning that it's not accessing the cloud, it's accessing the content within the app itself. Now, here's the bridge. The Healy hardware itself has what's called a quantum sensor, affectionately known in the electronics world as a noise generator. A noise generator is constructed of two different silicon materials. It's called a PN junction. Two different types of materials. And when information is put through that component, it has to jump the bridge, the merging point of those two different connections. And at that point, it's electrons being, let's just call it, exposed to the environment. And there is where the interaction between the information field and that present moment happens. It's amazing. And the electron field, think about it, folks, is the field that permeates everything. All molecular structures are created from electrons. Even the air we breathe has electrons within the molecules. So when the information on one side of that junction is you, aka the client, the other side is the database. And when the content is jumping that bridge and it's exposed to the electron field in the environment at the present moment, now we're getting a analysis. Now we're getting a merging. And this is where the brilliance of this system works, is that it's working on the electron field. So is it coming from the field? Yeah, it's coming from the electron field of which is essentially the quantum field, or the infinite field of information, because on all the electrons contains tons of information. So it's a very sophisticated way that it works, but it does not require us or the system at that moment to access the Healy cloud, nor to access the internet. It's all done within the smart device and the Healy. Okay.
Great. Question earlier on also, when someone bought or took advantage of the BOGO offer in January, which many people did, it was an excellent offer. They went ahead and they upgraded their device in February from a residence to professional, which again, a ton of people did here by which the promo that ended yesterday. Question is though, will both devices then upgrade to the professional? So no, so the BOGO, the devices came together. They were on the order together in January, but other than that, they are completely separate going forward as far as adding modules or subscriptions or other programs to those devices. So it's not BOGO for life on those devices for everything going forward.
Yeah, the upgrade's applied to a serial number. So you only have one serial number per device. Here's a great question from Thomas asking, hey, can we put these programs on a PC? No. I love the idea. I mean, can you do it? Well, again, the whole model of Healy. So Healy is a offspring of TimeWaver. TimeWaver is a practitioner-based clinician type of environment where you go to a practitioner and they have a system that's sitting there in the office. You have an exam room or whatever kind of a room, and you go there, and the operator works the software and interviews you and takes their talent and creates the programs for you. Still, you're able to hold electrodes and have the microcurrent, all that stuff, but it's all practitioner based. It's a bigger system, not portable, not portable. That's the key thing. So when Healy decided, it took them 10 years to develop this, said Marcus wanted to make sure that everybody had this opportunity. And so they worked to create a AI system and a smaller, more portable, wearable system that you could run in an app-based environment. And so what you want to do now is go the other direction, right? Now we want to put it back on the PC. Well, then that's a TimeWaver. So the system had to be shifted and changed. The AI system is designed to run on an app-based protocol, and the Healy itself is designed to interface on that same AI interaction. So yeah, no, that's not on the plan. I mean,
so guys, I'm going to have to leave you early. I hate to, but I saw one last question in here. I just wanted to address kind of towards not the end anymore. There's more questions, but it said try to back up the master key on a blue app and send it to my friend that's using a Healy, and she couldn't open it. It only came up with no preview available. So even though you see a no preview available, that still allows you to save that file. Right. So when you click on it, look up in the top right, especially if it's a Google account, a Gmail account, you'll see the little box with the downward arrow. When you click on it, it will allow you to go ahead and download that master key file to the hard drive of your smart device. So with that, I want to wish everyone a blessed evening, and don't forget, if you have an issue, love to work with you. Have a lot of fun working with people to resolve their issues. Go to HealySupport.com. We'll work together and resolve it. So with that, everybody have a blessed evening.
Thanks, Freddie.
Appreciate your time, buddy. So such a great value.
On that same topic, just make sure when if you're trying to load your master key back in, or look for your master key on your phone or email in order to send it somewhere, make sure you're looking for the one that ends in .json and not some other file that may be saved on your smart device. So
Yeah, remember this, the master key was never designed to be a viewable file. That's not what it's for. If you view it, if you're able to open it and look at it, it's got 4,096 bits, characters. So ones and zeros and stars and stripes and all 4,096 of them. And it's just a page full. It looks like just the matrix, right? Just like, who knows what that is. So it's not designed to be viewed. It's designed to be deciphered by the app. And so it's, and a lot of the programs on a smart device actually won't open them. I won't open it or show you what it is. So that makes sense. Now here's a new one, Jake. I love this one. I haven't ever heard this. How to run a program for your grass? Hey, spring is coming. I love it. I mean, why not run a program for our lawn, right? Our yard, our garden.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or our farm. So I work with people who are like organic farmers as well as gardeners. And we set up their garden, their farm, or their yard, their grass as a client. It's a plant, right? It's a growing plant. So you can actually create it as a plant and call it grass. And then it's just a broad organization or organism of grass. Because if you know what I'm talking about, all the roots are connected in that grass. It's a one big organism. So you could do it that way. The other way is you can actually create it as a group. So as like a group, and it's basically, you name it. So here's the key, folks. When you're creating a client, where you put the intention or attention for this new creation you're making, is where Healy is also, and where the Healy hardware itself is where that reading's coming from. So if you put your Healy hardware out in the middle of your yard and you create a client as a group and assign that energetic reading to that group, it's looking at the grouping of what? Of grass, of everything within that space. So this is your creativity. And I suggest that you build it in the way you feel makes sense. I would personally, if it's looking at my grass, it's a plant, I would create it as a plant, right? And then I would name it such as Ken's yard. You know what I mean? Okay. We got another minute. Do we want to do a little quick storm on question and answer here?
Yeah, let's see what we got pending here. We're almost caught up, but
I still need to buy another smart device. So folks, when you're out there buying another smart device to run a second Healy or third Healy or fourth Healy, remember that other smart device does not need to have a service. It does not need to have an active phone number. It just needs to be able to access Wi-Fi. It does not have to be expensive and the latest and greatest. It needs to be able to operate with the proper operating system. I would make sure that you get a device that operates on the latest, newest operating system now, which I think iOS is like 15.3 or something like that. Anyway, and you can get them fairly inexpensively used. Okay. All right. Anything else, Jake, you want to?
Again, Michael, thank you for answering so many of these questions on today's call. So definitely appreciate the help and keeping up to date on the chat.
Yeah, awesome help. Thank you so much in the background. Lightning fingers. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Here's another lightning round. Last question. Is the coil waterproof? And that's a great question because the cool thing about the coil, there's really no digital or electronic components within it. It is simply a coil of wire embossed in a protective coating. So is it waterproof? Yeah, I don't recommend that you store it in water, but it's water resistant. So you can shake it off, dry it off, allow it some time to dry off, and then it's reused. And so no problem. Yep. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Jake, I appreciate your help a lot. Michael, thank you. And Freddie, thank you, of course, as always. This recording will be available soon, and you'll be able to dissect what we just covered. So everyone have a great night, and I'll go ahead and let you guys unmute yourself if you like, but I'll stop the recording. Thanks, guys.